Why do we love open world games? That's a question that I ask myself quite often. What's so fun about completing a game where the narrative isn't given to you directly? Every mission isn't pushed at you. You do have the option of exploring the world that the developers have created. Whether that's a desert island or a city landscape, there's never usually anything different from that. But sometimes exploring the world isn't enough. You complete side quests over main quests, or you decide to collect every optional collectible just to feel like you're getting the full experience. With me most recently, I have discovered that over time I have liked open worlds less and less each time I play a new one. Some of my open worlds I'm fine with because there is some form of linearity, but most recently open world RPGs just feel cluttered and unorganised. Most modern RPGs have a lot of empty space. You won't see many areas full of character or NPCs outside of main villages or cities. I've seen this most recently in Assassin's Creed Origins. When I went to go for the Platinum Trophy, I really did realise how devoid of life the open world really is. But also in general how tedious open worlds have become. Collecting and completing every icon on a map just isn't worth it for a trophy or some more experience points. And trust me, I've learnt that one the hard way. Open world games just used to have this spark to them. They used to be full of life and full of character, and some are still notable to have those characteristics, such as Red Dead Redemption 2. But perhaps it could be due to the scale of open worlds nowadays, where developers are pushing for bigger environments for the players to explore. But with those bigger environments comes more space to fill up in the world, and sometimes developers just don't add these improvements. Sometimes people just think bigger is better, but in the case of open worlds, it just isn't. Because honestly, how many times have you explored a map to get all of the checkpoints just so you don't have to ride your horse or drive your car just to get to the marker that has been placed for a mission? Because I do primarily do this with every open world game I get. So much of the environment is just texture but with no character. And I know this might sound like a bit of a grudge, but it's true for me. I just think it's such an aggravating aspect of open world games. But I do honestly love open world games, because many of my platinums are in those open world games. I guess it's just aggravating to complete it all, but satisfying when you do complete it all. You know, until you move on to the next open world game and have to do it all over again. Although open world games can give some of the best experiences that a gamer has ever had. To be talking about one thing in a conversation with an NPC, and then to find the thing that you were talking about with them. To me, those are the most satisfying moments. To see a building or a tower that shows you how small you are in the world, and yet how much of a big impact you make in that world. Now, I don't usually look up at monuments and buildings and mountains and think about it that way, but I think I might do now. To appreciate the landscapes that the developers have made, and to appreciate the time that they have spent creating the world that I'm exploring. Although sometimes developers just take their assets from other titles and push them into their newer releases. The most infamous case that I've seen of this is where Far Cry 4's map was repurposed for Far Cry Primal. And although the maps look very different to the naked eye due to the lack of buildings in Far Cry Primal, if you get up images of the actual map, you will see that they are almost identical. But I think open worlds in general have gotten a bit too comfortable. Not really trying to push the boundaries of what an open world could be, and are instead just sat in a nice comfy chair until somebody realises how samey open worlds really are. In conclusion, open world games can be masterpieces, full of life and wonder, and also a way to break away from reality. But sometimes you get burned. A game with extraordinary trailers showing off what the developers want you to think is the full experience, but it never always works out to be that way. Just think about No Man's Sky. The trailers showed off a vibrant and lived-in world, full of wildlife that could only be imagined. And when it came to the release, people were in disbelief, because they have waited so long for a game that turned out just to be a broken and messy experience. Now, this is a rare case of video game trickery, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't appreciate open world games, even though the market is getting oversaturated. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then subscribe and turn on that notification button so you don't miss another upload from me. So thank you and goodbye.